Welcome to another session with Street Talk with Bar. I'm your host, Bar. Rest in peace, Mr. Magic. As always, takes a wise man to learn from his own mistakes, and even a wiser man to learn from the mistakes made by others. I got one of my favorite partners to talk with over the phone from back in the days. Jimmy Fingers, what's up?
Yo, what's poppin', big dog?
Chilling, chilling, chilling. So me and you were sitting back the other day, and we was thinking about doing. I wanted to tell that elevator story. You know what I'm saying about how we used to rock on the elevators. A lot of people won't know, how we was getting down. And
Yeah,
then
right on.
what wind up happening, yo, in the projects.
Oh, this shit caught on fire. The elevator shaft the other day you talking about,
Yo,
right?
that's crazy, yo. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it was
I
maybe
was
about, huh?
when I seen it, that's the first thing I thought about, how we used to be up in there.
And not only that, but the fact that I was talking about doing a story a couple of days ago, I was like, yo, we got to put that piece out about the stairs. Cause see, one
Yeah,
thing about me, right? You know, everybody, and I'm not trying to act like I'm better. We all different, but when it come to that era, that '80s era, you got your shooters, you got your killers, you got your dudes that was getting money. But I just think what set me apart was anytime I did something, I always thought for the gang. And what I mean by that, well, I ain't gonna say gang because we was a crew back then. We wasn't ganged up. It wasn't so the crew. As far as one thing in life, it's all about one thing in life is always about putting the odds in your favor. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Whether or not
yeah.
you're doing illegal shit or legal shit, you always want the odds in your favor. That's
That's
just
a
that's just it. So anytime I move and did something illegally, I always wanted to put the odds in my favor.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So that was always important to me. And if you ask me, it worked. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how many other people thought like that. If you did, it's all good. If you didn't, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? But a brief story on the elevator thing, right? So
Yeah,
back in like 81, 81, this little dude named Tony. Well, Tony and Milton, the Ayala brothers, they moved in the projects, right? So I don't know if you remember Tony. You remember Tony?
yeah. Remember Tony? God bless. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
Tony.
God bless Tony. And he was he was a Spanish dude, right? They were Spanish, but
Yeah,
Tony used to
boy,
look like Bruce Lee to me. He looked like Bruce
yeah,
Lee.
yeah.
He
A
kind of
fact.
looked like Chinese. But
I used to think he was my uncle brother when I was little.
oh, hold on, you ain't even got to say which uncle, David.
Yeah,
Hell yeah, you 100% right, cause he definitely looked like David. Oh my God, damn you, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, there you go. But anyway, uh, Tony was a little wild dude, man. From day one, I remember the first time I seen him, he had on like a tracksuit, right? He had on a tracksuit with some sneakers on, and like I said, he reminded me of Bruce Lee from the that movie what's that Game of Death when Bruce Lee was
oh
fighting
yeah, 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 yeah.
fight with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So that's how he reminded that's who he reminded me of, right? So Tony used to go stealing, man. He used to boost. He used to steal. Right? He was a little dude, yo. He was older than
Hmm.
me, probably about 3 years. But yo, he used to. That was his thing, man. He would steal, steal, steal. He used to go to Delancey Street. That's when the sheepskins was out. He used to steal sheepskins, yo. He used to, yo.
Right.
He was lit. So I'll never forget one day I'm in the elevator and I'm going up, in the elevator. And next, somebody fall through the hatch. The elevator got the hatch,
Yeah.
where you could climb out. Most elevators had it back then anyway. I don't know if they still like an escape hatch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it is now, yeah, but back then, yeah, that shit
Right,
was like a nice hat you could get in.
right. You could. So while I'm in the elevator, he just fell down and he was laughing. I was like, oh shit, what the? I'm tripping. Like I ain't never seen that. Like I said, this was 81, 82, 80, early 80s, like probably the late 70s, 70,
Mhm.
around that era.
Yeah,
So I'm like, yo. So now I started hanging out with him on top of the elevators, right? So now I'm, all of them used to do that, ride the elevators. And back in the days, a lot of people lost their lives. A lot of young dudes lost their lives riding on the elevators, yo. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was fun. It was fun for us. You know what I'm saying? So I remember one time we had this old man that used to come in the building, right? We used to be hanging out in the building, and we was, like I said, we 12, 11, 12, 13. And this man will actually come by and he would spray mace while he walking up to the elevator. And we be all running out the building, choking,
so
coughing, you know what I'm saying? And we young. So one day we finally realized, oh, that's Mr. Such and Such. Oh, okay. You like to spray mace, whatever, right? So we found
Mm-hmm.
out who it was, right? So one day me and Tony, we was on top of the elevator, and while we riding up, I was able to look in and I seen the man get on the elevator. As soon as I seen him get on the elevator, something popped in my mind. I said, okay, I got you now. I got you. So what popped in my mind was, now the next time, because I knew his route, I knew his schedule. I knew his schedule when he used to come in the building. Everybody had the routine. They come in from work. So I told Tony, I said, yo, next time you go out stealing, get me some mace. He didn't even know why I wanted it for. And when you get it, put it, we had a little area up on top of the elevator where he left it for me. So Tony
Yeah.
went out, and when he see me, said, yo, I left that mace up there for you. I was like, cool. So now here I go. I'm waiting for the time to come for this man to get home. Now on the other elevator, we was able to, well, both elevators, we knew how to, you could take a little popsicle stick and stick it in there, jam it in there like I
Yeah.
showed you, and
Yeah.
the door would just move back and forth. It would just close and open. I'm surprised I'm not an elevator mechanic right now, yo.
Yeah, that shit
You know what I'm
couldn't
saying?
move.
We was nice with that shit. So we could,
Sliding door,
huh?
the sliding door elevator.
Yeah, no. What I'm talking about, yeah, what I'm talking about now is the ones which you had to open the door, not the sliding door
Yeah.
where the whole thing.
Yeah.
So the door would just go back and forth when you stick that pop stick was sticking there, it would go
Mm.
back and forth. It wouldn't move. You get in there, it'll just close and open, close and open. So the time I knew the man was coming home, I went and I made the other elevator. I stuck it, so you only could use the one that I was waiting on, top of the elevator. Man, when that man got on that elevator, boy, I got his ass back so good. Yo, while we riding up, I lit that shit up with Mace, yo. That man came, yo, he was crawling out the elevator, yo. I was saying to myself, yeah, that's a payback, cause you been dogging us for a long time, yo. But I got his ass back with that shit, yo. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
I was wondering where you get that elevator shit from, man.
Yeah, yeah. So fast forward to, yo, it was crazy because I never really let nobody know about that. You know what I'm saying? Because like when me and you started doing the do, it was like towards the end. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and not only that, now he go to staircase. Because the stairs was big in my shit too. Because I used to,
Yeah.
you know, even though when I was young, I always used to run up the stairs. Now you talking every flight of stairs, you got 14 stories. So every flight of stairs is 14 steps.
Yeah.
So 14 times 10 is 144. Then you got five more steps because you got to count the roof.
The roof. Yeah.
So
Going
that's
to the
another
roof.
five flights, 14. So half of 144 is like 70 something. So you're talking over like just over 200 steps that
A
you
lot of
running up.
and
So
doing push-ups before and after.
you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I know
That.
I kept you on some militant,
Yeah.
something real militant, but I knew you was going to need it. And I know what you was thinking when I used to have you running up and down them stairs like,
Yo, I was like, yo, we supposed to be getting money. Nigga training to me to be assassin or for the Olympics or some shit. Like, what? You know?
but see, now I know how
Paid,
it was. Go ahead.
paid off.
Huh?
I said it paid off.
Yeah, because even with me, like when I started putting on weight, 'cause like I said, I always used to run the stairs when I was younger, playing ball or whatever. The stairs was my thing. Even when I put on weight, I was still
Yeah.
light on my feet because of the stairs, because I
Hell
still always
yeah.
ran the stairs. Huh?
I said you was able to move. When we
Yeah,
went to play in the Bronx, you was moving. I was
yeah.
like, damn, can't keep up.
You know what I'm saying? So now with you, like I said, the first time you really knew what the stairs really meant, what happened with it?
Oh, the police. Yeah. So the police, because you taught me the stairs and how to get on the elevator.
Yeah.
So they came, they pulled up in the building. They was right on my ass. I couldn't stop to no floors because they would have known what apartment I would have went to. So I kept going all the way straight up. I get up on the motherfucking roof, pull the joint open, get on top of the elevator. I'm riding that shit all the way down. They caught the elevator like on the 14th or 13th floor. and you hear them stopping at every motherfucking floor. Where the fuck this motherfucker at? He's like, you know who it is? He's like, it's Jimmy and Angel. It's one of them.
You just you on top of the elevator listening to
I'm listening to these motherfuckers die laughing inside like these stupid motherfuckers. They stopping at every floor. And I'm like, I hope I don't call for no shit like that because it was dusty up there.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they I'm listening to them like, this motherfucker. How did you lose him? How did you lose him? I could have sworn he went to the roof. Did he jump? is he on the air conditioner?
Yeah, we right on top of you, bro. And then
Yeah,
and
I'm
then
like,
and then
pause.
and then to look at that incinerator, because that incinerator, I think that's what happened, right? If the incinerator compactor was on fire, right? That's what that was.
Hey, I'm sure I didn't really get a straight answer because I got like three different answers from three different people. You know what I mean? Like they told me the wrong building and everything. So I
Yeah,
don't I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know
No, but
exactly.
it looked like 177 though. I could see because you could tell by
Yeah,
the
nah, at
steps.
the end I found out it was 177,
Yeah.
but I don't know exactly how it happened or what part was on fire.
But it was more than likely the incinerator, because that's where that leads to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was looking at all of that smoke, saying, "Damn, if that was back in the days, boy, ain't no telling how much coke would have been on
Yo,
fire."
I would have been dead. I would have been dead.
Yo, it would have been a lot of high firemen, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
coked up firemen on that roof with
Yeah.
all that damn smoke. I would have been looking at
Mhm.
that shit like, oh man, my whole stash is gone. Because like I
Yeah.
said, I don't, nobody, I don't know
Building
who, huh,
fast. The
huh.
building fast.
That was the stash, yo. The building,
Yeah.
yo. You had to think outside the box, because when they run in your crib, you got it in the crib. That's definitely, oh, we know this belonged to you. Shit,
Yeah.
on the
On the
roof,
roof is
on
anybody's.
on top of the elevator, unless they know. And like I said, I got a famous saying from one of my homeboys in the Bronx. Like I said, man, yo, lessons come in not just somebody, like lessons come in small words, yo. Like I said, when my boy told me, the less people know, the better off you are. It may sound like something cliche where it's like, okay, that makes, but when you pay attention to it and start
Mm.
implementing it in your lifestyle, you really, it really moves you. Just like I always start my show off with the Mr. Magic saying, that
You
shit is
apply
embedded in me, man. You know what I'm saying? Word, that's
that.
that's embedded in me, man. But yeah, man, those, and even and how we used to go up on the roof, that same area, you know, and what was that a main thing with the drugs, and what else we used to test up there?
Order them firearms.
That was our shooting range, yo.
Yeah, that was
Every
our shit,
and I
right?
and I know in New York City, I maybe in other areas too, but in New York City, back then the roof was definitely a way. When you get a gun,
Definitely.
you going up on that roof to test that bad boy, yo.
Yo, no, it's crazy. I ain't gonna say no names. But do you remember one time me and my brother got the joint with the scope on it, and we went on top of 191,
Right.
and we were trying to hit something, but we didn't know how to adjust the scope. We come down
Yeah.
to the building. You remember what I'm
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And dude was like, "Yo, you seen two Puerto Ricans on the roof?"
Yeah. Oh man, those was, like I said, sit back and laugh about it now.
Yeah, you can laugh about it
So,
now.
it's all just learning, but laughing and just, what I'm saying, just being able to, you know, just like I said, man, we've been there, done that. You know what I'm saying? And at the
Yeah,
end of the day, man, if you could find anything positive to really look at what we talking about and be like, you know what, it sound entertaining, but it ain't for me, man. Because like I
yeah.
said, for the most part, if
I
you
wouldn't do that today.
nah,
That's
if you blessed enough to make it this age, yo, you know
right.
what I'm saying? Because they got the saying that, being in the streets, whatever you doing, whether it's robbing
Mhm,
banks or whatever, it's like they always say it's, you want to be either dead or in jail. But you got,
mhm.
you know, the odds ain't in your favor to be where we at in reference to, making it where we at. You know what I'm saying? So those odds are low.
Very low.
That's what I mean by putting the odds in your favor. So put the odds in your favor by doing something constructive for your family and your community and your people. You know what I'm saying? Because trust me, going that negative route, your odds just increase so much of you, like I said, winding up in jail or winding up dead.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah, this is true. Like you see my situation, man. And like I told you last time, my situation was over some bullshit.
Right. Right.
That's
Right.
I
Oh, just the situation you did your load, you did your time for, right?
yeah. And I was in the elevator.
In the elevator. Here we go.
I was in the
And I
elevator.
told what I told you before you did that.
Yo, you told me, yo, leave that shit alone, man. Leave that. Yo, you know what it is?
Yeah.
I felt like you know, because dude was new in the building, but he was letting people that was coming to visit him validate.
Right.
And when we told him about it, he laughed. You know what I mean? So that's basically what it was. I mean, they came in the building, ice grilling dudes. You know, it was over something stupid,
Right.
but
Right.
that's what it led to. You know what I mean? And yeah,
I,
homeboy was crying for mama.
right.
He was
Right.
that,
Right.
but you know, he was yeah, he was definitely, you know, hollering. It wasn't tough no more. But
But yeah. I.
I learned a valuable lesson. Like I lost all my 20s because of that.
Right.
You know, and like I said, no matter what people say about what happened before that, the back and forth and shit, it all boils down to it was over a ice grill.
Some straight up bullshit, yo.
Straight up bullshit.
But see,
At the
I really didn't know what it was over, but I just knew one reason why I was because I knew, yo, that shit ain't had nothing to do with me.
Hey yo, oh, you know what's crazy?
Yeah.
The same dude tried the shit. He tried to. I remember we came out the building and and you thought it was Supreme, our Supreme brother, and he was like, "Yo, what up? You good?" And you was like, "Oh, I thought you was somebody else." And he was like, "He looked like our Supreme brother."
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was
That,
the same dude.
right,
I ain't gonna talk about what happened, but you know, it was the same dude.
right.
You know, so it was like, damn,
And like I said, my thing was more like, that shit. If you would have done it in that fashion, right, like that, it was gonna bring heat to the projects. But you younger
right?
than me, and your testosterone is running. You got that high energy. You ready to just do whatever. And I'm
Right.
sitting in the crib, and I hear the shots. As soon as I heard the shots and I heard the do, I said, "This nigga didn't even listen to me, man. God damn."
You know it was me.
I knew it was you. I heard it because I heard it because the echo in the elevator, and I heard the
Yeah,
scream. I said, "This nigga done went and shot that boy." But he made it through, and everything was,
yeah,
whatever you did, you whatever came behind it, you handled it, stood up
yeah.
like a real, like a real man. You handled your business, yo. So
And and then and then and then when I came home, I did what a real man do. I did a about face. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah, that
With
now that yo, like I said, I commend you on that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you was doing a lot of mentoring in your community, and that's
yeah,
what it's all about for me, yo. At the end of the day, you
like
know what I'm saying?
take a wise man to learn from his mistakes, you know.
Yeah,
And I definitely learned from that shit.
that's what's up,
I,
yo.
I don't know. You know, you losing people. You lose your valuables as far as the materialistic shit, but then you lose family members. You know what I mean? Like I watched my son grow, but behind bars. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, you like, damn, it wasn't even worth it. So when you get that second chance, you like, I ain't gonna do the same shit again.
To him, y'all. Listen to him because he's speaking facts. And at the end of the day, like you said, you lose your valuables, but you can always get those valuables back. But like you
Right,
said, you lost family members. Yo, you can't get those back. You know what I'm saying? So that's
right.
that's the big, the big picture to that, man. And that's,
You don't get that back.
yeah.
In my 20s, I got locked up at 19, 20, right? So, you know, I came home out 29.
Mm,
It's like, damn, those are the golden days for a male. You know, I went to college. I wound up going to college, but at my late 30s, but I did it. But I wish I could have did it in my 20s because I watch my son right now going, and I'm like, damn, he enjoying that shit. He enjoying life. You know, but you live and you learn. You know, I lived the life I lived to learn and be the man I am today. I guess. You know.
that's what's up, yo. Blessings to you, man. For real. Because I know the
Thanks.
struggle, you know? But yeah, man. But on that note, bro, we're gonna wrap it up on that one and Stay tuned for more. We got some more for y'all.
Elevator action.
Elevator action, yo. There you go. That's what I'm gonna name this topic. Elevator action. Yes, sir. But yo, Jake,
Good.
I'm gonna chop it up with you behind the scenes after we hang up.
All right, I got
All right, man. Stay up.
you.
All right.